Hello movie lovers, today I will be talking about the 2022 American historical action drama titled The Woman King. The movie opens with narration of an event that was set in 1823. We hear a story of two African kingdoms, the Oyo Empire and the Kingdom of Dahomey. According to the opening crawl, the Kingdom of Dahomey has crowned a young king, Gizo.
This will be our last.
The Oyo Empire has joined forces with the Mahi people to capture Dahomey villagers and sell them to European slave traders. With their guns and horses, the Oyo have an advantage. The Dahomey have a group of female Amazon warriors known as the Agoji, led by General Naniska. In the opening scene, the Agoji warriors battle against the Mahi tribe, who held most of their Dahomey villagers captive. The Agoji infiltrate the Mahi village, slaughtering the soldiers before rescuing the captured villagers. After the fierce battle, the Agoji warriors mourn their dead and accompany the captives back home in the morning, before more Oyo arrive.
Bring me stronger warriors.
The Agoji are given a warm welcome by the villagers as they meet their loved ones. Gizo meets with Naniska and regards Naniska as his most trusted soldier. The story shifts to Nawi, a teenager who is brought to a man who wants to marry her, despite the fact that he is older and brutish. When Nawi does not respond to the man, he slaps her, and she responds by pushing him so hard that he falls to the ground. He becomes enraged and refuses to marry her. Nawi's father brings her to the Agoji and offers her to the king.
I wish to give my daughter to the king.
Izogi, an Agoji soldier, takes her into the palace. General Oba Aid leads Oyo soldiers to the bodies of their comrades. Oba Aid mocks them for allowing women to murder their fellow soldiers, and they plot their next move against the Dahomey kingdom. After expressing his love to his wives, Gizo walks to the palace. Gizo convenes his council to address the Oyo threat. Naniska also mentions the slave trade, saying that selling off their own people casts a dark shadow on their kingdom. She suggests that they trade in gold or palm oil.
We have other things to sell.
Gizo instructs Naniska to demonstrate the amount of palm oil they can produce before he makes his decision. Naniska's right-hand woman, Amenza, who has been her childhood friend, addresses the new Agoji recruits, telling them they will fight and potentially die for their kingdom.
Or we die.
Naniska instructs the recruits to either leave or stay. Several women leave, but many others, including Nawi, remain. Izogi then tells Nawi to go bathe, which she does and meets Naniska in the pool. She speaks to Naniska boldly, telling her she looks like a regular old woman, unlike the myths they were told that the Agojis had magic.
You look like a regular old woman to me.
Nawi is perplexed as to why they begin with ropes, believing she should begin with a bladed weapon until Naniska allows her to try on a wood statue to decapitate it. The sword is too heavy for Nawi, and Naniska chops off the head with one swing. Izogi tells Nawi at night about how her mother let men abuse her until she fought back. Later on, the women continue their training by running, firing rifles, and learning combat techniques.
Get up. You're just waiting to die.
Nawi pulls a prank on one of the statues by detonating a small explosive. Naniska chastises her for it, and she accepts responsibility. Nawi explains how she made the explosives to Naniska. Nawi accuses the general of arrogance. The general then disarms and dismisses her. Later, Izogi tells Nawi that Naniska's deeds are legendary because she rose to her position after being a captive left for dead. Amenza visits Naniska, who has a nightmare in her hut, and tells her, using special nuts, that she sees someone from Naniska's past returning for her. Naniska watches as Nawi practices her sword-wielding skills on one of the statues on her way out. The Oyo arrive at the kingdom's gates to confront Gizo. Naniska is horrified when Oba Aid steps forward, because Oba Aid raped her repeatedly while she was a captive. They demand 40 Agoji warriors as tributes, but Gizo only allows 20. Naniska retires, where she informs Amenza that her vision were correct. The next scene takes us to the seashore, where we see Captain Santo Ferreira and his friend Malik, whose mother is Dahomean, lead a group of Portuguese settlers to Africa. Malik is horrified when he sees the captured native. The Agoji confronts the Oyo as the men arrive on the scene. Naniska declares that they will not pay tributes and instead hands over the severed heads of his men to Oba Aid. A battle erupts between the two warlords. The Agoji warriors flee as planned, but Nawi stays back to assist Naniska by shutting down the gates against the Oyo soldiers. With the Oyo warriors pressing harder to break through the gates, Naniska and Nawi flee into the sea. Naniska chastises Nawi for their escape, but Amenza privately tells Naniska that it was she who deviated from the plan. as she was more concerned with killing Obaid. Nawi comes across Malik as he bathes in the river, where she accuses him of being a slaver, but he denies it and tells her about his Dahomey heritage.
The place my mother told me so much about.
The kingdom hosts a small tournament in which the Agoji trainees must overcome obstacles such as thorn bushes, climbing a wall, fighting enemies, and finally impaling one of the statues. Despite Nawi's retreat to help her friend Fume, Nawi emerges victorious, and Gizo recognizes her skill and talent. He gives her a machete.
If she was not so skilled, I would have made her a wife.
Naniska feels something on Nawi's arm while tending to her wounds. She returns to her room, followed by Amenza, as Naniska inquires about a child she had given up on a long time ago, because she suspects Nawi is that child. Ferreira informs Gizo of his plans to potentially end Dahomey's participation in the slave trade, telling him that his wealth is derived from slaves, and that without them, his kingdom would be nothing and unprotected. Gizo responds by saying that if the Europeans are no longer useful to him, they are also unprotected.
No longer a necessity to me.
Izogi gets the impression that Nawi likes Malik after observing them conversing quietly. While Ferreira was talking to Gizo, they later meet in secret, and Nawi gives Malik a totem to protect him. She simply takes one of his knives when he says he has nothing to give her. Nawi goes to take a bath and runs into Naniska, who chastises her for sneaking away from Malik.
I know your arrogance.
Naniska approaches Nawi after they argue and tells her about the baby she gave up.
I was with child.
She was a victim of rape, and Amenza assisted Naniska in concealing and revealing her identity.
I was raped many times each night.
Naniska recalls cutting the child's left arm and inserting a shark tooth. Naniska cuts into Nawi's arm and pulls out the tooth, proving that Nawi is her daughter, and thus Obaid's daughter as well. Nawi walks away, stunned. The next morning, Naniska and some of her soldiers patrolled the Oyo camp.
But you don't need a gun to use gunpowder.
Set fire to their gunpowder, causing multiple explosions that scared their horses away and exposed them. The Agoji launch an attack, resulting in a fierce and bloody battle that kills many Oyo and Agoji and captures some of the women, including Izogi and Nawi. When Nawi discovers that Fume's spines have come loose on a wagon heading away, she encourages her to roll off the cart and run back to Dahomey.
Do you want to leave?
While imprisoned, Nawi assists Izogi in attempting to repair her broken arm. Fume returns to Dahomey and informs Naniska of the Oyo's plan to exact revenge on the Agoji. Gizo promotes Naniska, but prohibits her from further acting, but she and Amenza work behind his back to save the others. When the European slavers arrive to take the captives, Izogi and Nawi fight back. Izogi is fatally shot and dies in Nawi's arms. As she cries for her sister, Nawi is imprisoned in a room, but Malik pays her a visit and informs her that the captives are on their way to England and he wishes to protect her. Naniska leads the warriors into the European camp in preparation for an attack. They attack the men and set fire to their camp before releasing the captives. Nawi assists Naniska in her battle preparations as she prepares to face Obaid. The man tries to beat Naniska. She overwhelms him and impales him, killing him. Everyone goes home, and Nawi breaks up with Malik. Naniska is confronted by Gizo as the Agoji return home with their captives. While he admits she disobeyed his orders, he is grateful to her for bringing the Oyo Empire to an end and officially promotes her to the title of Woman King.
Behold, the bravest of the brave, the Woman King.
Everyone is rooting for her. Nawi goes to pay her respects to Izogi, and she is accompanied by Naniska. She later refers to Nawi as her daughter. The two then join the others in celebrating by dancing. The movie ends here. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like and subscribe to get notified whenever we post a new video.